Hello, my name is James from Project Ghost Patterns, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to crochet. If you like today's video, then please like this video, comment down below what you would like for me to make next, and subscribe. It's going to help out the channel a lot and get my work more seen across the internet. So yeah, if you are ready to crochet with me, then let's get going. So what we're going to need is these materials down below, except for the swatch, which we're going to be making today. And this swatch contains the single crochet stitch, which you will learn as the first stitch of your crocheting career. And this single crochet stitch can be used for almost anything that you can think of. So yeah, we're going to do that today. And we're going to need these supplies as well. I'm going to go in depth into each of them. So what we're going to need is yarn. Yarn comes in so many different varieties, colors, textures, and weights. But what we're going to need for today's video and for your first yarn as a beginner is 100% acrylic yarn that is medium weight. So the number on this symbol right here refers to the weight of the yarn. Yarn comes in so many different weights, and the medium yarn is a good weight for beginners because it is simply just right for, and it's just smack in the middle of the weights that you can go more chunkier after starting today's video, or you can go thinner. Whatever floats your boat, that is fine. But for today, we're going to need a medium weight yarn. We're also going to need a crochet hook. And crochet hooks come in so many different materials, from metal, wood, plastic, to about almost anything else. What we're going to be using today is a metal hook, specifically Boyer, but you can also get Susan Bates hooks, which are also sold in your craft aisle. So either Team Boyer or Team Bates, these hooks are sure to work well for your first project. And I recommend you getting a set of these crochet hook sizes: I9, 5.5mm, J10, 6mm, K 10.5, 6.5mm, and H8, 5mm. I should have started with the 5mm first, but whatever. But now, what we're going to look at on our yarn label is what hook size it recommends. This recommends an US H8 5mm hook. And I'm going to be using an I9 5.5mm hook. And that is simply because I want to have a even gauge, and usually a looser crochet hook a size bigger crochet hook will create a looser gauge with yarn. A smaller hook will create a tighter gauge. So I don't want a tight gauge for today's video. I want something that's ideal for learning how to crochet. Next is a tapestry needle, which you're going to need for weaving in your ends once you're done with your crochet projects. And we're going to be marking our stitches with these stitch markers, which you can also find in your craft aisle. And finally, scissors. So I'm going to move everything out of the way and get started with our crochet. Now, some skeins of yarn will have the end of the yarn poking out from the center of your skein. I pull from this end usually. You can also pull from the outside as well. Whatever way works. So I'm going to draw enough tail length for me to work with. And what we're going to do is make our slip knot. So what we're going to do is simply making an X with our fingers. So what we're going to do is hold the tail of the yarn. I'm holding it with my thumb here, draped over my 4 fingers. And I'm going to simply wrap the yarn coming from the ball over, back and over, and then grabbing the yarn end, the yarn coming from the ball with my pinky, turn my hand over, and now we're going to need a crochet hook. And there we go. Now I'm going to insert our hook back into the loop again, this time under instead of over like I did with the. So now I'm going to take this loop off my hook and draw up and tighten. And then I'm going to take the yarn end from the ball and draw it up on our hook. And this is going to be the start of all crochet projects that we're going to be doing for most of the videos on our channel. And for most of the crochet projects you'll work on as well. And now that we're not going to make this loop too tight yet, because we want this to be loose so it can slide across the hook. And now we can go to how we hold the hook. You can either hold it the pencil method or the knife method. I prefer the knife method. Next comes holding the yarn. You can hold the yarn in many different ways as you can, but my favorite method is by putting the yarn over my pinky finger, then going under two of my fingers. So I turned my hand over, so now we have the yarn coming under two of my fingers, and then over my index finger. Not too much yarn in between, and then using the rest of my fingers to hold the base of the slip knot. And now I can drag this up and down the hook with ease. And whenever I need more yarn, my pinky will act as a tension guide to tension more yarn into my crochet work. Now we're going to learn how to make chains. These are the foundations of most crochet projects, and for most of the videos that you're going to see on my channel. What we're going to do is drag the yarn from the back over to the front, like so, and then turn the hook head towards you, and then down as you approach the loop on your hook. Pull that loop over and off your hook. We're going to do that again. Yarn over. Now it's facing towards me. Then down as I'm approaching the loop on the hook. Pull through. And then that's it. That's how you make chains, is by yarning over, pull through. And now we have 3 chains on our work. I know this because if we count the V's on our hook, on our work, we have these V's right here. That's 1V, 2V, and 3V. The loop on our hook does not count as a stitch at all times. I'm going to make more chains. I'm going to have a total of 13 chains for today's video. So I'm going to count the number of chains as I go along. So I have 3 currently. So the next chain will be 4. So that's 4. Yarn over. 15. Nope. I meant 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. And we're going to keep these chains loose and even and not too tight, because that's going to make it impossible to work into those chains. We're also looking for chains that are not too loose, or it's going to make the edge of our work not look so nice. Now what we're going to do is make our first stitch, which is the single crochet stitch. And this is the stitch we're learning in today's video. So what we're going to do is insert our hook into the second chain from hook. So what we're going to do is take a look at our work here. Our first chain's right here, and our second chain's right here. This is the second chain from hook. So we're going to insert under the first loop of our hook here. Yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2. When I pull through, that means pull through 1 loop on the hook. So now we're going to look for the next chain. So I know this is not it, because this has a stitch in it already. So I'm going to look at the next chain on our work, which is right here. And if you take a look at your chain, what we have is the V's in the front and the bumps in the back. For today's video, I'm going to be working into the first loop of our chain. So this is the first loop of our chain here, as I'm showing you. And I'm going to insert through there. So then yarn over, pull through 1 loop, or simply pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Again, we're going to insert a hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Again, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. So on and so forth down the line. And over time, you'll have an even tension. It's make sure that you start with slow and easy, and then you'll be able to work a bit more faster. So I'm rearing the end of my chain. And now we're going to count our number of stitches. I know I have 12 stitches because if we count the V's on our top of our work, we'll have 12 stitches. So we have 1 stitch. So we're going to look at the V's on the top of our work. So we have 1V, 2V, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now we're going to turn our work. So what we're going to do is chain 1 and then drop our work like so, and then grab it like so. Again, what we're going to do is drop our work so the right goes down and back up again. This time the right becomes our left. That's the way I like to turn my work. Now what we're going to do is take a look here. We have our chain right here. We're going to skip it, and in our V of the stitches, we're going to work under both loops. So this is what I mean by both loops. We have our back loop right here, and then we have our front loop right here. We're going to insert under both of those loops. So skipping our chain, we're going to insert our hook into both loops of that V. And we're going to treat this as one loop on our hook. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Again, we're going to insert into the next V or stitch of our row. Yarn over, no, insert, yarn over, and pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through 1, yarn over and pull through 2. And now we are working into the stitches of our row, of our previous row. So continue on until you have finished, until you have meet up with me at the last stitch of our row. So it's a little bit tricky when you are going to work the last stitch because we have something like this. But if we take a look at the top of our work, we have this V right here. I'm going to insert under that V, under both loops of that V. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. And now our stitch markers come into handy because we're going to be marking the stitches of the first and the last. So our first stitch will be the first V of our work. So this is our first V right here. So this is the first stitch. We can count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to insert a marker in the 12th stitch, and we should have the same number of stitches as we started in the previous row. This is to make our work more even and the sides not taper in or taper out. If you have more than 12 stitches or less than 12 stitches, then you have missed a stitch. Now we're going to work our next row. So chain 1 and turn our work. And I'm going to take my marker out, make my stitch, and replace the marker into the stitch we just made. So under 2 loops. Then we're going to work down the row, doing the same thing as we've done before, which is inserting our hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. Like so. So now we're approaching our marked last stitch. Now I know that this is the last stitch because we marked it in the previous row. So I'm going to insert my hook into this last stitch here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and that's our last stitch done. So we're going to place a marker in it, in the stitch that we just made. And we're going to continue working this way in our next couple of rows this way until your sample piece is the length that you want it to be. So I'm going to work a couple more rows, and I'll meet you back here when you have made some more rows. But I'm going to go with you one more row to see how these markers will work. So chain 1, turn our work, and I'm going to take this marker out, make our stitch, and I'm placing the marker right into the stitch that we just made. And I'm going to crochet down the row. Okay, so I have reached my last stitch. So now I'm going to insert my hook into the last stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and then take the marker out and put it in the stitch I just made. And now I'm going to continue on with more rows. I'll meet you back here when we have completed a couple more rows. Alright, so I have now worked a couple of more rows, and now we're ready to finish off our work. So here's how we're going to finish off our work. I'm going to take the crochet loop out of the hook and cut a tail. So I'm going to measure the length of my crochet hook. This should be enough to weave in our ends. I'm going to take the loop on our hook, draw it up, and now our tail goes. And now we're going to be... Now I just took out my stitch markers. You can take out your stitch markers as well because we don't need them anymore. So now we're going to thread our tapestry needle. So the way I do it is take the yarn end, drape it over the eye of the needle, pull off, and then feed that end, folded end through the tapestry needle, and there we go. We have now threaded our tapestry needle. So I'm going to take you a bit closer here to see what we are doing. So remember those single crochet stitches that we were making? We're going to be weaving our end into those. So what we're going to do is see now we have our stitches are forming V's across our even rows, and our odd number rows will have the V's on the other side of it. So I know that we have even number rows because we have our first row down here, our second row, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. And you can simply count these edges here, these dips here, as 2 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 2 is 8. As for the other side of our work, because we have our first row obvious, the last row we just made is going to be another odd row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, what we're going to do is take a look at the V's that we've just made with our single crochet stitch, and we're going to insert our tapestry needle through both legs of our V's. So if you take a look here, this is what I mean by the V, both legs of the V. That's 2, and that's 3. I'm going to now draw my tail through those 3. I'm going to weave through 3 more stitches. And there we go. Oops, I skipped a stitch. It's important that you don't skip your stitches with your tapestry needle because it's going to make your end more obvious and it's more likely to come out. So I'm going to fix that. My bad. Making sure I insert under that stitch this time. And there we go. Now you can say our end is woven in, but that's not secure enough. I'm going to show you how you're going to secure your end even more. So we have our first V and our second V of our single crochet stitch on the front of the work. I'm going to insert under the second V, then back through both legs of the V's of our single crochets here, down back through to where we just started. And I'm going to pull that yarn tail through, and there we go. I'm going to actually then tug a bit on the work, trying to get the tail to even out as possible so it's not too obvious. And then cut our tail close to the work. Pull that end in as much as I can. There we go. And now you're going to do the same thing for this tail. Again, you're going to weave through 6 stitches and then go back through. Now for bigger projects, the more stitches that you weave through and go back through, the more secure it's going to be. So yeah. Anyway, I think that is it for today's video. If you like today's video, then please like this video, comment down below what you would like for me to make next, and subscribe. And I really hope you enjoyed learning how to crochet with me today. And as always, happy knitting and crocheting. Bye.